What's going on, guys? It's Dale here from DemmSec, and a little while ago a company called Hacker Arsenal reached out to me, and just straight off the bat, really cool name, I immediately got my attention, and they were really interested in sending me one of these WiMonitors, and you're going to see me unboxing that now. And what this kind of does is it sniffs, and it does channel hopping, but it sniffs the 2.4 GHz spectrum, Wi-Fi of course, encapsulates that up and sends it over an Ethernet port. And at first I was like, well, why would you do that? I could just use a wireless card. But then I thought, right, if you had a bunch of these inside your house or an organization, you could do really effective logging and monitoring with this. So what I've done is written a bit of Python code, which we're going to go ahead and team up this WiMonitor with a Raspberry Pi, which is effectively just going to be able to detect when we're being DDoS attacked and send us an alert via the pushover service. So you'll get a push notification if your device is detecting a DDoS attack. And this is something you can just keep expanding on, because you've got absolutely everything available from the Wi-Fi spectrum, where it's like you could start detecting rogue access points and alert to that kind of stuff. Anything that's trying to replicate your wireless name, send yourself an alert. And I think this could be really, really, really effective for a big company who actually runs those risks on a daily basis of someone de-authing their users or bringing in a rogue access point. So what I'm going to do is just give you a quick demonstration of how this thing works and how to actually just read the packets on your desktop. So when you first get this device, and I've just plugged this into my computer, the default IP is 192.168.1.1 and the username and password is root. And this is really cool. It uses like it uses OpenWRT, but it's got some added features. And those are the ones that we're interested in. So I'm going to go to configuration. And in here is where you're going to put the IP address of the system you want to monitor this device from. So if I open a command prompt, I can see my IP here is 1.67. So I'm going to change that to 1.67. Then I'm going to hit apply. I'm going to go back, and then what I need to do is open up Wireshark. So I'm going to fire up Wireshark. So now that we have Wireshark open, we want to listen on our Ethernet device. Then what we need to do is go to Edit Preferences, Protocols, and we need to find the Aruba ERM. And we need to make sure this has the right port. And when we hit OK, we'll start seeing these Aruba ERM packets. So let's just grab one. And what we need to do is it's got right here, Decode As. And what we need to do is right click, Decode As, and then set this to ERM, PCAP, and radio, and hit OK. And now, you should recognize these. These are obviously 802.11 or Wi-Fi packets coming across now. So that's the very simplest way to use this. You can just use it to remotely monitor Wi-Fi somewhere without needing an actual wireless card plugged into a device. What I'm going to do now is disconnect this from my computer and plug it into the Raspberry Pi and show you what I've been working on, and I think you guys are going to be really interested in this. So I've now connected this to my Raspberry Pi, and it has got a different IP address this time. So what I'm going to do is I've already got in fact I'll just show you. So right here, I've got logged into the Raspberry Pi. I'm going to go Change Settings, SSH, Tunnels, and then Dynamic, and 8080 here, and hit Add. And this is so we can connect to the WiMonitor, even though it's plugged into the Raspberry Pi. So we've got Firefox open, and we're just going to go to that same IP address, but this time we're going via our Raspberry Pi. Okay, so by default here, you're not actually going to be able to reach it, because in my case, my router is on the same subnet as the device. So I'm going to have to add a manual route to go ahead and access it. So I'm going to do IP route add 192.168.1.1/32 dev eth1. And I need to run that as sudo. And now we'll be able to access it, as you can see in the background. And if I just do IP route, all that's told the device to do is, if I'm trying to go to this IP, use the device Ethernet 1. And I should explain, what I've gone ahead and done is on the Raspberry Pi, I've got the regular Ethernet port being used for Ethernet, and I've got a USB Ethernet port plugged into this device. So now we can log back in with that same username and password of root and root, and we can change this to 141, which is its IP address. And if we hit apply, go back, we can verify it's got that IP address right there. So the next thing you're going to need to do, and both links to the WiMonitor and this will be in the description, but you need to go ahead and head over to the DemmSec GitHub page and grab this link on your Raspberry Pi or whatever device you want to do this on. Do a git clone of this URL, and I've already done it, so I'm not going to do it again, but that'll download the package that you need to run this. So I was just editing the video and kind of realised that I didn't ever explain the code, which is a bit of a problem. So it's fairly short, but let's just go through it here. So we only use these 3 modules, and the PyShark is essentially a Python wrapper for T-Shark, which is kind of like the command line version of Wireshark, which is obviously what we need to do because we need to do a whole bunch of different stuff. So we've got a variable here called capture, and this is using PyShark to do a live capture of Ethernet 1, which in my case is my USB to Ethernet adapter, which the WiMonitor is plugged into on the Raspberry Pi. And then we're going to tell it to decode as, and when we went to the edit and preferences, this is essentially what we did. So this first half is anything that's on UDP port 5555, attempt to decode this as Aruba ERM. And then we do anything that we've done that to, we then want to use Aruba ERM type 0, but then Aruba ERM type 3, which was the PCAP plus radio setting we did before. Then we create an empty list called deauth list, and that'll make more sense as we work our way through. So for every packet that we sniff forever, so that continues forever, try to do basically all of this, which is why it gets derp every now and again, because something in here doesn't go quite right, and I think it's usually the packet we find doesn't have this subtype, which isn't really an issue for us because we're looking for a specific type of packet. Sometimes words just fail me, and they almost did then. And if it has a subtype of 12, and I should explain that the subtype of 12 is a deauth packet, print it to the screen so we can actually see it, and then try to add that to this list here. So we'll end up with a list of all the deauth packets we've seen, and we just have a little error check in here, and it'll, instead of crashing, it'll just say couldn't add it to the list. And then if we add something to the list and there's already 50 packets in there seen, this is where it creates a message, and that's the one you saw in the screenshot, or you will see in the screenshot later on. Deauth attack in progress, this many packets seen, target is this. And then it uses the HTTP lib and URL lib to go ahead and do a post request to put the pushover service, which then sends a push notification to my phone. And then we emptied the deauth list so it doesn't just keep sending more and more push notifications forever. And once you've downloaded it, right here where it's got the token and username, if you're using the pushover service, and that's pushover.net, and that's just a really easy way to do push notifications, you'll be able to get these details from there. And I think it's like £3 for life to sign up for it, so I think it's well worth it. With that all set up, the script should just run without any issues. So if you do a sudo python sniff.py and hit enter, that's going to start up in the background. So what I'm going to do is spin around quickly and start a deauth attack so we can actually see if this works. So you can see there that a bunch of deauth messages have come in, and I've just got a notification on my phone, in fact. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a screenshot and show it on screen. And it's really that simple, and I think this is something that could really easily be implemented in so many different companies. And I think you guys could really get involved in writing this, because it's really simple code, and I'm sure a lot of you understand how to do this. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I didn't really give you much to play with, but I think this is what may have whet your appetite for this kind of device. If you're interested in it, head over to WiMonitor. I'll be doing a full review of this device when I've had a chance to play with it, but this was my initial idea to go ahead and play with it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.